Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kayin and I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremony for this afternoon's webinar. First of all, allow me to extend our warmest welcome to Dr. Muhammad Yunus Yassin, President of Association of Science, Technology and Innovation, ASTI, Captain Ariwananthan, speaker of today's webinar, Green Maker Challenge partners, participants, teacher, parents and viewers. I would like to thank all of you for joining us virtually today for the webinar entitled Being a Positive Change Maker, Design Thinking. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is held in conjunction with the Green Makers Challenge GMC 2023, which is organized by ASTI in collaboration with the US Embassy Kuala Lumpur, American Corners, and Institut Pendidikan Guru Malaysia, IPGM. Before we begin the webinar, let me introduce our speaker for today, Captain Ariwananthan. Captain Ariwananthan is a trainer, design thinking professional, and a leadership coach. He has been a consultant, trainer, and a speaker since 2007. He worked as a ship captain on cargo ships before becoming a trainer. For those joining us virtually, this is an interactive session. During the talk, you may post your questions in the chat box and we will answer you from there. Without further ado, let us welcome Captain Ariwananthan.
Thank you, Keen. Hi, everybody. Hello from Malaysia. Can you just type and see if I can see you all typing? My name is, please type there. Hi, if you can type and chat with me. Okay. Hi, hello, hi. Oh, nobody. All right, never mind. It's okay. All right. So I need to know where are you all from. It's oh yes, I can see somebody there. All right. Okay. Is anybody from Malaysia? You can type there me. Or which country are you right now streaming? You can type there in the chat box so I can see. All right. Okay. Lovely. Wonderful. Fantastic. Now let me introduce myself, ladies and gentlemen. And this program is called Design Thinking. This is my name. If you didn't get just now, my name is Captain Ariva. I used to be a cargo ship captain before, like what Keynes mentioned just now. I was working on board a company called Malaysian International Shipping Corporation. I've been sailing around the world for about 13 years, ladies and gentlemen. And I've done about 300 sea voyages in my life. That is the experience that I have. And when I talk about ships, it's not a small ship, ladies and gentlemen. These are huge ships. The type of ship that I sailed and commanded before is called the cargo ship, and specifically a type of ship called the bulk carrier. And let me give you a simple picture of how does that ship look like. That's the ship. Yeah, if you can see that, that's actually enormously huge. Yes, it's super huge, ladies and gentlemen. If you can guess, I'm not sure whether you can guess this or not. Can you guess what is the length of the ship? Oh, yes. If you can guess, probably you can type in the chat box, well, how many meters is that? Okay, right. If you can't guess, let me tell you, my friends. I know some of you are trying to Google to find out what is the length of the ship, but let me tell you this. The length of this ship is about 342 meters in length. That is 3 times the football field, ladies and gentlemen. And that is where I came from a very different type of environment before. I was a person who really need to solve problems and be innovative and make tough decisions. That's the nature of the job that I was before this. Okay, now that's about me. And let me tell you a little bit more. Why is a ship captain doing here in this program? Currently, I'm a design thinking professional, ladies and gentlemen. I work together with companies to design product, process, services, business ideas and all those kind of things. And we have a specific way of doing things. Now, a lot of people would like to use innovation process, but I also do innovation process, but I like this special way of designing product, process, business ideas or whatever is it, initiatives, whatever that you have in mind. I use a different method, which is called design thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not sure if you heard about this word design thinking before this program or not, but I'll be here to share with you some insights of what is design thinking. It's all about why we need to have design thinking and some steps that we use in design thinking on pushing from imagination to the counter, imagination to realization. So how do we go through this process? That is what's going to happen today. Not going to go deep inside the tools, ladies and gentlemen, because the tools could be a little bit complicated and a little bit technical. So I'm gonna keep it here in some of the practices, some realization of what is design thinking is all about, and some kind of a tips for you to understand. Oh wow, this is design thinking. That means if I were to approach the way I come out with an idea from today onward, from a switch a little bit a different of a perspective, which is called the design thinking perspective, what will happen? Now let me give you some insights about it. There are two different type of approach in life, my friend. If you want to design product, process, services, some kind of initiative, ideas, whatever is it that you want to do. Some people use innovation approach. There are certain steps and processes in an innovation approach. But there is another way to do this, which is called the design thinking approach. Now, let me tell you what is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Just have a look here. Now, if you were to know, do you know what product is this in the picture right now? If you know, I'm going to give you a few seconds. If you know what is this, please type in the chat box so I can see how many of you all can guess what is this. Can I give you 5 seconds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time's up. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first ever mouse that you use for a computer mouse that ever been invented. And this mouse is invented using an approach which is called the innovation approach. Which company invented this mouse? The company's name is Xerox PARC. Xerox, P-A-R-C. P-A-R-C stands for Palo Alto Research Center. Now, Xerox came out with this product, and I'm not sure how many of you all use the old mouse. You know, the earlier that we have this kind of a mouse that it might ring your bell if you were to see that mouse. You have to open that behind the mouse. You have a turning. You have to turn something and take out a trackball. If you have used that before, ladies and gentlemen, now that is the type of mouse, the first type of mouse that came in. Now that trackball, normally we will clean it, because if not, that the mouse doesn't go smooth. Okay, now that trackball we clean it probably a month once or a few months once. It depends on how you use it. Now, then you have to put that back. Now the picture, the mouse that I'm showing in the picture that I'm showing you right now, this mouse, you need to open that trackball using a lot of different type of tools, and then you need to clean that trackball every hour. Now, when they designed this, yes, they designed something that is very amazing. It was very powerful. They used an innovation approach, but they never thought about the user's perspective. Now, that's where Apple, our great Steve Jobs, that he came in and he said, he called this one company that I'm going to introduce that company in a while, my friend. They are the design thinking powerhouse in the world, my friend. They went to this company, and Steve Jobs told this company and told them, can you come out with a mouse that is not like Xerox, but really, really user-friendly? And this company is the real design thinking powerhouse in the world at that time, ladies and gentlemen, and they are still right now. So what did they do is that they use a design thinking approach, and they went and saw the customers, how people do certain things and all. And finally, they came out with this mouse. Let me show you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first mouse that Apple came out with. Now, this first Apple mouse was designed using design thinking approach. And currently, if you were to see a lot of mouse that we use for the computer, it's not like that anymore. It's much more user-friendly, much more smooth. You know, the design is created in that point of view. Now, that is the difference between innovation and design thinking approach. You can design anything in this world, my friend, but what type of approach you would like to use? Now, let me show you another one. I'm not sure how many of you all used this phone before. Yeah, this is the Nokia 3310, ladies and gentlemen. If you were to remember the ringtone, oh my God, that's a classic ringtone. Am I right? It's like, oh my goodness. And that this phone, the battery can last forever. I think 3 days or 4 days. But the phone that we have right now, hardly 1 day. Am I right? Yeah. But this phone, it's a very robust phone, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing is, this phone was just a phone. Then, again, Apple came into the picture. They came in and they thought about what does the human really need? How can we improve the productivity of a human being? And they really studied what the human needs and studied what the human requires. And what they did was they came up with a smartphone. I'm not an Apple user, my friend. I'm more of an Android user. But then that's where the Apple came in and set the benchmark, ladies and gentlemen. They are the trendsetter who came up with this idea. And then you can see every other company come out with another smartphone. Then Samsung came in, and then you know the history. More things came in. Oppo, Vivo, we got BlackBerry, we got Google Pixel. All this company came in because they went and did an approach in a different approach, which is called the design thinking approach. Now, I'm not sure how many of you all use eBay for you to do purchase, right? Now, if you have used eBay, you know that it is an online shopping platform. But the problem with eBay is this. If you were to use eBay, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that it is not that user-friendly. Long time ago, I'm talking about long time ago. Now eBay is very good, okay? But people are not actually using eBay compared to the other platform that we use. Now, this is where, when they came up with this online platform, they use an innovation approach. But design thinking, when they use a design thinking approach, that's where Amazon came into the system, my friend. If you were to use Amazon, you will know it's really seamless. I'm sure you have used Amazon. Probably you've used Amazon, but there are other companies came in, ladies and gentlemen, and they just copied how Amazon works. And company like Lazada, Shopee, you can just name it, okay? Then we got 11th Street, and you got so many other, Alibaba Express. All this came in because they are no more into using the innovation approach. They use the design thinking approach. They think about the user's perspective whenever they are doing certain things. Now, let me give you another example, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure you've used TripAdvisor for you to book hotel or not. Now, I don't use TripAdvisor to book hotel, but I've asked this question to a lot of my participants in the class. When I asked, most of the 99% of the people in my class, they say they use TripAdvisor not to book hotel, but to read review. Yes. TripAdvisor was designed using innovation approach. Actually, TripAdvisor want to make money. But because they didn't study the human behavior, how does human work? How do their thinking? How are their psychology? What does the human need? They don't study that. They're very excited with the product. They came out with a platform long time ago. I'm talking about a long time ago. They came out with a platform that is very, very information friendly rather than user friendly. Now, then came in some other platform like Booking.com. I'm not sure, you might be using Agoda.com. You might be using Airbnb. Whichever that platform that you use, you can see that it is so user-friendly. You know why? Because it's used the design thinking approach. In design thinking, you really think from the customer's perspective when you're designing certain things. Even an app, even a product, whatever is it, you need to look from that kind of perspective. I'm going to talk to you about another idea. Now, this idea about this MR, what we call MRI scanner. I'm not sure how many of you have been through the MRI scanner. Okay, if you have, type there me. Have you ever been through an MRI scanner, my friends? Type there me. Oh, don't have. Yeah, it's correct. All right, lovely. How about CT scan? Have you been through a CT scan? Probably, yes. Okay, lovely. Now, let me tell you about this MRI scan and the CT scan. If you have been through this, you know it is really, really disturbing. When you get into the CT scan, when you get into the MRI scan, the sound, oh my God, it's really, really scary. I've not been through it, but I've seen people going through it. And let me tell you, it is you. If you are a claustrophobic person, you're really going to have a problem going through this MRI scan. And sometimes the MRI scan, you'll be there for about an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, stuck in this MRI scan for a long period of time. Now, when somebody wanted to redesign this experience going through MRI scan, there was this engineer who was looking at this MRI scan, and he said that and while he installed the MRI scan in one of the hospital, and what happened was that MRI scan was used for kids. Just imagine for us, for us adults, or if there are adults here, for just adults to go through an MRI scan or a CT scan, it's really devastating. But how about kids, my friends? Kids are going to go through more traumatic experience. So what do they do to the kids? What do they do to the kids so that they get into the MRI scan? Oh my God, it's really disturbing. They actually sedate them so that they go, they sleep off, and then they'll pass through the MRI scan. They make sure they are sedated, 100% sedated, then only they bring them out. So that was what the engineer was watching. He was looking at the whole experience that the kid is going through. And every time that kid comes out, and any kid comes out, the kid tells the doctor that next time I'm not going to go into the MRI scan. I really don't want to get into that machine. And that really triggered his thoughts, my friend. He used, after this, he thought this MRI scan is the greatest invention ever in the world. But let me tell you, my friends, until and unless it is not user-friendly, it's not human-friendly, he's not, I'm going to use this word, my friend, human-centric. If it is not human-centric, that design, I'm not sure is the best design or not. So what this guy had done, he came up with a very simple idea, my friend. You see, sometimes you do not need to go deep into the technical feasibility or technicality to design certain things. Sometimes you can come up with an amazing idea just by, have a look of this idea, my friend. Just by this. You can see here, what that engineer did? He just came up with a simple idea. He said that let's give an experience to the kid so that the kid will love going into the MRI scanner or a CT scanner. So what they did was they put this sticker. There are few stickers, my friend. There are some stickers that look like a ship, some stickers that looks like getting into a spaceship, some stickers looking like getting into the jungle, looking you on using a train, things like that. And when the kid comes to that clinic or the hospital, they brief the kid, they set the kid's mindset by telling, boy, you're gonna get into the ship and you're gonna be the ship captain. And while you are inside there, I'm gonna tell you something, boy. I want you to hold on tight because you're gonna go through a rough weather. You're gonna hear different type of sound. And I want you to hold on tight. And I'm going to make sure that you're going to pass through, because when you go through that storm, boy, you will end up to a place that you're going to have the treasure. So they created a story for this kid, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where the kids were so excited. They go into this. They really go through the experience with the eye patch and everything. But when they get in top there, they have to take out the eye patch. But then they're wearing these pirate type of what we call clothing, go through the MRI scan, and after that they really made the kid go to another room, and that room will have a treasure box, and you will open the treasure box and you'll get some chocolates. That's how they've been doing this, ladies and gentlemen. Again, design thinking is not just an idea for you to come up with technological marvel or things like that. You just have to come up with an idea that is human-centric. That's the word I'm trying to use right now. Human-centric. Now, let me go to you and give you another amazing idea, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. I'm showing you an egg. Yes. I'm not sure how many of you all have done half-boiled egg. You know, I'm not talking about the hard-boiled egg. I'm talking about the half-boiled egg. It's soft-boiled egg. Now, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, we tend to love this thing called the half-boiled or the soft-boiled egg. But we know to do this half-boiled egg or a soft-boiled egg is not easy. I'm sure some of you here had gone through that experience doing that soft-boiled egg or hard-boiled egg. Oh my God, sometimes you thought that is the time. Sometimes you take it out, it's too watery. Sometimes you do it, it's too hot. You never get it right. Why is that so? Something wrong with the timing, something wrong with the temperature. We don't know what to do. And then there is this person who came up with this equipment. I'm not sure how many of you have this equipment, my friend. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I don't know how many of y'all got this equipment. I got this one, I got this one, the one that is in the yellow color. Oh yes, my favorite. Oh, now this guy, he's a Malaysian, my friends, and he came out with this idea of coming up with a half-boiled egg maker. Oh my goodness. With not much of technology, it's just science, my friend. It's just science. He just have to think a little bit. He just have to find out how can he make sure the time that it strains, it cooks that half-boiled egg in a correct way. And he came up with an equipment that doesn't use an electricity. Just put that. I don't know how many of you have this equipment at home. But if you don't have this equipment at home, my friend, you can buy in Shopee or Lazada, or even if you're going to go and buy in some shop, DIY, the $2 shop, you can get this thing. If you don't have, please buy it from Malaysia. We got a lot over here. Ooh, my friends from America or somebody from there. Now, let me tell you, what you're going to do is that you just get this thing, put the egg in, fill it up to the level that it's supposed to be, and just leave it there. Hot water, it's supposed to be boiling hot water. And at the right time, you'll get your half-boiled egg correctly. Now, this uncle here, he came out with this idea because he sat down and thought from the human perspective whenever a person is doing a product. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the difference between innovation approach or a design thinking approach. Now, from today onwards, whenever you want to design certain things, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put the user, put that stakeholder person, the one who's going to use the product in mind before you want to design certain things. There's a lot of people outside there are so excited with their product. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know your product is amazing. I know your idea is amazing. But it's not about the idea, it's about the user. It's all about the user. And when you can think from the human-centric approach, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you win the game. This is why you can really win a lot of games, because you thought from the human-centric approach. It could be your presentation. It could be an idea. It could be anything, ladies and gentlemen. It could be the thing that you're cooking, the thing that you're drawing. Think from that person, that the user, the audience perspective when you're doing things. Now, this is the reason why I'm here. I'm not talking like a robot. I could have done that, but I really want to create that engagement, excitement, and I'm really trying to connect with you, but still nobody telling hi. Never mind. We're going to go ahead with this. So this is the thing, my friend. This is the difference between innovation approach and design thinking approach. So then, what is design thinking actually? You might be thinking this question. So, Captain, what is really design thinking? Am I supposed to be a designer? No. It's not designer. We're talking about design thinking. Basically, design thinking is very simple. Design thinking is human-centered approach to innovation. That's all. Design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation. Rather than looking at the product perspective or the ideas perspective, you put the human first. You put the user first. But for that to happen, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, there are 3 challenges that you need to think about when you are designing a product, process, or services. It could be anything. It could be your idea. I'm not sure what kind of idea that you have that you want to do, or you want to show something to your stakeholders or your teacher, or you want to show something to the audience. It could be anybody, your parents, your son, your daughter. I'm not sure who are the people who is listening to this. Probably anybody also. Everybody is listening to this. Every single different type of demographic is listening to this. But let me tell you, my friend, the first thing you need to do when you're designing certain thing is to think the people desirability. I wanted to study this. Now, that is the first thing that we do in design thinking. We study the people desirability. What is the people desirability? What is the people needs? What are their psychologies to a certain thing? What is the motivation? What do they really, really need? Now, we spend a lot of time, my friend, in this part well in advance before going to the idea. Now, I've seen a lot of people designing a lot of things. Now, the process is every single time is going to the idea. Now, you need to stop doing that. Now, if you want to go immediately to the idea without thinking about this thing called people desirability, you might be creating something that is not human-centric. You understand what I'm saying? So the first thing you need to do, you need to study the people desirability. Now, the second thing after that, you also need to understand, is it technically feasible for you to design this idea? Now, for your information, innovation or design thinking is not same as invention. Design thinking, again, let me tell you, my friend, design thinking is not invention. It is innovation. What is the difference then? Invention is something that you do that has not been there before. This is the first time you're doing something that is new, that never existed before. That is invention. But innovation is something that is already there, but you want to solve a problem. So you take something here, take something there, and then try to fit it together to solve a unique problem. So for you to come up with a design thinking product, process, or services, it must be technically feasible. I know that there is a people desirability to design a time travel machine. But let me tell you, my friend, it cannot be done through the design thinking approach, because design thinking is not an inventive approach. It is an innovative approach. For you to do inventive approach, it will take a very long process, my friend. It will take a long process. It will take a long time for you to do that. But you need to see whether the technology is already there, that you can plug it from there, plug it from here, and put it together. Let me give you an example. If you were to use this thing called Uber, or in Malaysia we call Grab, or certain country they have another thing called Dart, whatever platform that is, it is what we call e-hailing service. If you were to have used the e-hailing service, my friend, you would have seen that it is an amazing innovation. Again, it's not an invention, it is an innovation. What is innovation? Those guys, they just took in the existing idea that is already there, which is the map is already there, the payment gateway is already there, the communication system is already there, the shopping cart is already there. They just put it together so that it can work. So whenever you're doing this design thinking challenge, make sure it is technically feasible or not. It's going to take forever for you to finish the product. So you need to think about that perspective too. I'm not sure how many of you watched this movie called Avatar. All right, James Cameron made that movie. Now, if you were to know Avatar, if I'm not mistaken, the idea came in 1997 or 1998. I'm not sure. I don't remember really. It's about 1997, 1998. After Titanic, he came up with this idea. But at that time, he couldn't design that movie because the technology was not there. for him to design that movie. So he had to wait until year 2006, 2007, when the technology already there, then he created that movie, my friend. That's why certain idea you need to hold on for a while, because you need to wait for the technology that is already there for you to do that. So second thing is technical feasibility. And the third thing, my friend, in design thinking, I want you to understand this. It must be business viable. Oh, yes. There must be a business sense that you need to make when you are designing some product, process, or services. If not, okay, when I talk about business sense, business viability is two things. Number one, it must make money. Okay, it must generate revenue. Or it must reduce costs. You know, some of you might be working in certain companies right now. You might be thinking, can I do this? Can I do that? As long as it reduce cost or increase revenue, wow, that's a business viability we are talking about. Now, people like us, design thinking professional, before we enter inside that whole project, we do some kind of a horizon view analysis. Oh, yes, that's the word I'm trying to use here. My friends, listen to this word again. It's called horizon view analysis. In that horizon view analysis, we will try to see whether it is people desirable. This idea that we are trying to do, is it people desirable or not? Is it technical feasible? You don't need to go into deep analysis, just a horizon view analysis. And then we do business viability calculation, my friend. And one of the best calculation that you can do using some intuitive or heuristic value, there's a calculation called net present value calculation, for you to see the cash flow in 3 years' time. Can you make that money? Or in 3 years' time, does it reduce costs? I know some of you all here are into social entrepreneurship, social idea. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand this very carefully. You can have a social idea. It's important. You know, like you want to do something on climate change. You want to do something on violence against women or girls or whatever is it. When you do this design, I want you to think again from the business perspective, because you need to have sustainability for you to design this product, my friend. And when you want to get some investor coming in and investing your product using a design thinking process, oh wow, it's so important for them to see if this idea can self-sustain or not. It doesn't need to make a lot of money. No, it's not that. As long as it can self-sustain, it'll be wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. So these are the 3 challenges you need to think about when you are designing your idea. Now I'm going to go ahead with the next thing, very important question I'm going to ask you. Anybody here know which company is the pioneer and the leader in design thinking? Can you all type in the chat box? I want to see how many of you all know this company, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you a few seconds if you can answer this. Which company is the pioneer and the leader in design thinking? Do you know that? Do you know what company is that? I'm waiting for the answer. Let me see. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting a little bit faster, I guess. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know everybody waiting for the answer. Woo! Okay, if you have Apple in mind, that's wrong. If you thought IBM, that's wrong. If you thought Google, is wrong. It's not Tesla, it's not Google, it's not all this, my friend. The company, I'm not sure how many of you all heard about this company, my friend. The company that is the pioneer and the leader in design thinking is called IDEO. I'm not sure how many of you all heard about this company, my friend. It's called IDEO. IDEO is that company who worked with Steve Jobs to came out with that mouse. You know, remember the mouse that I showed you just now, the Apple mouse? Oh yes, they used that. Okay, they came to Steve Jobs, went to IDEO. IDEO have created so many products that you're using at home right now, my friend. I don't know how many of you are using this Oral-B toothbrush. It was designed by IDEO. If you were to use this NEC flat screen computer, it is designed by IDEO. A lot of things that you are using here and there, it is somehow or other IDEO has some kind of what we call influence in it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when we talk about IDEO, for your information, I am certified by IDEO in doing design thinking, and I work with the community of IDEO community to solve certain problem. And currently, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what I'm doing. I am with a global community of IDEO. There is a community called Ripple, okay, Ripple International. We are working on this one initiative to solve violence against women and girls. Oh, yes, using design thinking approach. And we've been working on this, and it was led by one of my very good friend in London. Her name is Imogen. And she is the one who is leading this project, and we're using we are using design thinking approach in solving this problem. And no, it is enormously difficult because it's a huge problem, and there is a way that we do and the process that we do in designing this solution, my friend. We are still in the beginning stage, but let me tell you, IDEO, there is a way that we do things. And the first thing I wanted to talk to you is about, first of all, is about teaming up. Now, I know some of you are here who like to come up with some kind of idea, some kind of a things they're going to do. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, you might be thinking, how am I supposed to choose a team to work with? Let me tell you, you can do design thinking alone. Yes, you can. But it's going to be tiring, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be too biased when you do it alone. That is why you need to have a team up together to do this project, design thinking project. It's important for you to have a team because there's a lot of work involved for you to come up with an idea. I know some of the ideas are simple, but you might be thinking, Captain, it's just a simple idea. Do I need to team up? Yes, you need to team up because your perspective is very, very tunnel. You need to have few tunnels sitting down together to think so that you can see things in 360 degrees. So let me tell you, how do you team up? How do you find certain people and how do you team up when you want to come out with this design thinking ideas project? Now, first of all, try to have a team that is between 5 to 7 people. Don't go more than 7 because it's going to be a little bit troublesome when you have too many brains inside there. 5 to 7 people is the best because you really can work together very well and you can integrate with each other very well, my friend. Less than 5 is going to be very tiring. I've tried this, my friends. 4 or 3 people is too tiring. And try to get this 5 people. 5 people will be the best. Okay, 5 to 7 people is the best. You can go more, but if you have a big crowd, what do? Break them up. Break them up into 2 parts. Break them up into 3 clusters, 4 clusters. You can do that. Some of the projects that I do with my team, we cluster us up into certain parts so that we can work in a smaller perspective rather than the bigger perspective. You can do that. Okay, that's the first thing. Have 5 to 7 people. The second thing I want you to understand this. You need to have a team with diverse background and diverse personality. Oh yeah, this is so important, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. People come from different background. It's so important because they bring in a lot of different type of experience. They bring in certain type of knowledge. They bring in certain perspectives. I want you to understand that. Bringing in certain perspective is important. Some people see things in a different lens, and I want that. And I can get that if they come from different background. I used to be a ship captain, ladies and gentlemen, and that was one different type of perspective that we have in our team because I see things in a very different way. Now, I want a different perspective to be there. So if your team who have someone, if you guys are just young, probably around less than 17 years old, and you're thinking about getting a team, you might not have a diverse background, you might think, but no, you still have a diverse background because you come from different states. In Malaysia, you got a northern state, southern state, eastern state, western state. That's good because you came from different diverse background. If you're from America, oh my God, the state is so huge. You can go, people coming from the north, people coming from the south, the east, the west, the center. You got people from different background. They are bringing in different perspective. The second thing you need to understand is personality. People have diverse personality. There are people who are very imaginative, some people who are very particular, some people who are very structured. So you need to bring all these people together, ladies and gentlemen. And you need to have collaborative mindset, the mindset that wants to work together. You need to set that collaborative mindset. There are people who are going to be just participative. No, you need to be collaborative. You want to get together and do works together. And you need to have playful energy. Yes. You cannot be serious when you're doing design thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, no. You need to spark creativity. For you to spark creativity, ladies and gentlemen, playful energy is so important, especially when you're in the stage of ideating. It's so important. Now, the last one is when you choose a leader in your team, it's important for you to have a leader who is a process expert. He does know the step-by-step process in design thinking or innovation, and he must have a people skill. That means he must be easy with people. He must be having the ability to talk to people easily. That is the next thing you need to have. Now, what is this process of design thinking then? Actually, design thinking is very simple. There is only, you go through 3 phases, my friend, 3 phases. When you go through this 3 phases, you're wonderful already. What are the 3 phases? Now, the first phase is called the explore phase, which is where you need to do field research. You need to study what is the problem is all about. You need to go and see what are the things there. So that is called explore phase. Once you're done with the explore phase, then only you come into the next phase, which is called create phase. This is where you come out with an idea, my friend. You come out, you design, prototype and all. And then only you go into the implementation, where you come out with ideas and you create a prototype, and then you do some iteration, test the prototype, come back and do certain things. So this is the phase. So when we talk about the 5 well-known steps of design thinking, which is called empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. This is the 5 steps that you are going to go through. Let me go quickly through this 5 steps, and I'm going to stop this whole talk. All right. So that's going to end in a while. Now, what are the 5 steps? The first step is called empathize. In this empathize, this is where you really need to understand that people come up with a product because they have some kind of a trouble. Now, people don't want a drill. Okay, their job is to come out with the whole. That is what they want. So you need to empathize what they really want. Now, because you wanted to come out with a whole, that's why you design a drill. Likewise, you know, if you were to use this rubber band thingy to put in the plastic, I hate this plastic, my friend. You know, it's not good. And this rubber band also one-time use. You see, if you want to redesign this, my friends. Now, what you come up with is this clip. If I'm not mistaken, some of you might be having this clip. You can get this from IKEA, ladies and gentlemen. And then, see, people are struggling. They're hungry. They're lazy. There's COVID-19. That's why they use this food solution, which is called Food Panda. It could be Grab Food or whatever is it, okay? And then things like this. You can even study the challenges they use when they're using this equipment called Pyrex, ladies and gentlemen. You will be difficult for you to see the number by the side because you need to, you need to like bow a little bit to see the measurement. That's why you come in things like this, ladies and gentlemen. There are some equipment that you can get the measurement inside, so you can just stand and put there. So what you need to do is empathize, is for you to go and find what are the challenges people are going through. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, you need to learn from the user. So it's very important not to sit in your computer and look for information. No, you need to do things, my friend. You need to go to the field, real research, go and find and observe people going through certain things. If you want to design certain ideas, certain projects or whatever is it, go and observe how currently people are using the apps, using the process, using the services. Go and observe them. And then you go through, this is called, second part is called simulate. You go through the whole process and find out how does it feel for you when you're using the product, using the process, using the solution. And then you start interviewing the real user. Go and sit down and interview them. Come up with certain question and interview as much as possible and get the data. Once you're done with this, ladies and gentlemen, you define. This is where what you do, you find out what is the primary need. There are 3 types of need that you need to do, my friends. You need to find out what is the primary need. What is primary need? Very simple. What is the thing that I know as a researcher and the customer also know? Secondary need means what is the thing that I don't know, but the customer knows. I know he knows something that I don't know. Latent need is something that what is the thing that I don't know and the customer don't know. Both of us don't know. And when you do the observation and all, you can find out certain data, which are the primary need, which are the secondary need, and which are the latent need. Then you ideate. You see, you do the explore first. You don't go straight into the idea. When you go and do your exploration, go into interview and all, and you bring that information, the next thing is you need to ideate. Make sure your idea, you come up with wild idea, as many crazy idea as possible. Do not put critical thinking during ideation. I'm repeating. Do not put critical thinking during ideation. I just want you to be creative, be crazy, and all those things. Now, once you're done with that, then only you go and prototype. Now you use critical thinking when you're designing it back. This is the time when you do prototype. You can prototype using cardboards, simple things. You can prototype using a simple PowerPoint slide. You can prototype something like this using PowerPoint. Yeah. MVP means minimum viable products. You can prototype using a paper like this. Simple prototype. Just that's what you need. And a storyboard could be another prototype. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, you test. After you prototype, you think a lot, then you go to the market. And when you go to the market, ladies and gentlemen, you get as much feedback as possible. When you get that feedback, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you are going to go back to the board and redesign your prototype. And you redesign and bring that back to the customer, bring that back to the user, and do few rounds of this. And ladies and gentlemen, that will make your product amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it. This is the mindset that you need to do. This is the process that you need to have when you are doing design thinking. And I hope this, ladies and gentlemen, would give you an idea. Now, listen to this. This is so important. Huh? Rather than designing things from a product and an app's perspective, think about the user, because the user are the experts. When you go to the user, you can get the insight in different way. We are human. Design product, solution, process, and things for humans. With that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. I'm going to pass it to Kiki.
Thank you very much, Captain Arivananthan, for the wonderful talk. We hope you, as an audience, will use design thinking to foster positive changes in your community. Now I will pass the webinar back to Captain Arivananthan and Dr. Mohammed for the Q&A session. You may drop your questions in the chat box and we shall take it from there.
Hello, Captain. How are you?
Hi, Doctor.
We're honored
to see you, Doctor. How
nice to see you too. I'm good. I'm good. Nice to see you. Actually, we are indeed honored to have one of the experts in design thinking in Malaysia
thank you.
to give an excellent overview of what design thinking is. Before I start with the question, there's quite a number of questions here. We would be going through design thinking in the boot camp. So as you know, this is something that we are doing in conjunction with the Green Makers Challenge. So you as students, if you do participate, you would go through the process. We'll go through the process with you once. And I'm sure after listening to Captain Ariva, you'd be very excited to go through the design thinking process to come solve your own problems in your community. So without much ado, I know your time is quite tight now. Let me ask the first question. The first question is on how can we use design thinking in learning and understanding a particular subject. So I guess there are a lot of students here who are viewing this. So how can we use design thinking in learning let's say I want to learn history, I want to learn what do you call science, mathematics, and all that. Can design thinking be used for actual learning?
Oh, yes, it can be used in actual learning. So probably I can give two suggestions. How do you use design thinking in learning? Number one is, rather than reading just the book and studying just like that, I think it's important for us to know what we need to learn from the perspective of our lecturers or your teachers. So it's important for us to communicate and connect with the teachers. I tell you, there's a lot of students nowadays, they are so scared to connect with the teachers. Am I right, doctor? I tell you, long time ago, even though we are scared, we're going to go near to the teacher and talk to them, we know we're going to whack or whatever, we still talk to the teachers.
You get the rotan.
Yeah. But nowadays, the students are not connecting with the teachers, connecting with the lecturers. So it's important for them to connect with the right person, the teachers or the lecturers, to share the ideas and get integrated in the thought process. So the approach is not student, book, student, YouTube, student, no. Student teachers first. The book and all the other thing comes in as secondary. So it must be connected to the teacher. So that is the first thing. Now, the second idea that I have about using design thinking, you see, design thinking is an amazing process where we like to do this, when we like to think, when we think, we like to break the component into pieces when we think. We never think it as a whole. Give you an example. If you were to see this flask here, we never design it as a flask. First of all, we divide the flask into certain category. I got this bottom category, this category, the lid category, and this category. So I break it into pieces. So when I break it into pieces, then I go to this part first and I study from this point of view. Then I go to this part, study this point of view. If I were to break it into pieces and I start studying, oh my God, the brain works in a phenomenal way. So I think that you can use this technique for you to use design thinking when you're studying and learning.
I think it's similar to the flip classroom concept. Is that right?
Yeah.
When they say flip classroom,
yeah, right. Exactly.
So where the students and the teachers together learn, right? It's a more interactive approach, I guess.
It's much more interactive, and like I shared just now, you need to have a playful energy when you are exploring information. But nowadays people are very strict, they're very scared,
So teachers who are listening to this webinar, I hope you take note of what Captain was saying. Because I think it's very important. The teachers play such an important role, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let me go straight to the next question. We got a couple of more questions to go through. How do we use design thinking to make a positive change in our community? So I guess that's the main theme of Green Makers Challenge. So let's say I'm from this community and I see some kind of issues in this one. So how can I start within my community using design thinking?
So the first thing we need to do is that when we use design thinking as a very big picture, it's going to be very, very tiring. It's very exhausting. So it's important for us, first of all, to scope the thought process. I know there's a lot of things you want to do, but start small. Bring it down to one part. Okay, when you want to make a positive change in our community, we don't talk about the demographic of a community. No. That's a different part. So what you need to do is that, what problem are you trying to solve? Probably you want to positive change in just making sure that people are having creative confidence. Let's say we want to improve the creative confidence of people. So you scope down into the creative confidence and then start working there. And then you might have another initiative, which is to push in for people to be brave enough for them to voice out. That's another positive changes you want to create. So you go and zoom out to that initiative. So you need to break it down into initiative, which is bite sizes, so that you can get the lower hanging fruits faster. Now, people get very, very demotivated when that project is too huge and they don't know where to start, what to do. So that's the first thing you need to do. When you do that, I can tell you, you can see small changes along the way, and you can move on.
Yeah, I guess it's like I think the famous sage said, Lao Tse, who said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So I guess.
Oh my God, absolutely.
So you have to focus in and then not try to solve the world's problem, but to solve one particular problem and then go on to the next, and then hopefully more people will join your movement. So you won't be the only problem solver. So people will look at you and be motivated, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. Like the project that I'm doing right now, which is called Violence Against Women and Girls. It is a huge project, but what we do is that we break it down into Malaysia first, and we broke it down into violence against women and girls done by perpetrators, not anybody else. They're supposed to be the one in the prison, and that's how we break it down smaller and smaller, so that we can do something about it rather than looking at it in the big picture.
So solve the small problem first, and then go on to the bigger and the bigger and bigger, I guess.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. So let me quickly go on to the next question. How does so you mentioned about creative thinking and critical thinking as well just now. So how is that different from design thinking? Is there a difference, or is it similar?
So creative thinking is one part in the design thinking process. Now, give you an example. What is creative thinking? Creative thinking is this, you're trying to use some imagination to solve a problem. Let me give you an example. I think this happens very much in Malaysia. When we go to this makan, we go for some food, we have a lot of...
My favorite pastime.
Yeah. And people call us for some kind of a function, eating function,
Right.
And we have a tent outside, and then people like to eat, and suddenly you want to just throw that paper plate, and you don't find what we call a dustbin. Have you ever did this or not, Doctor? You inverted a chair and put a plastic garbage and created a dustbin.
Yeah, I've done
that
before,
correct?
Yeah.
Now,
it's amazing,
that is creativity.
Such a simple.
That's simple. That is creativity. That's just a part into the whole process of design thinking. That means the design thinking is actually innovation of designing certain things. Along the way, there are certain times that you'll use creative thinking to solve problem, to come up with an ideas and all that. So the creative thinking is inside design thinking. Critical thinking is inside design thinking. Analysis is inside design thinking. So it is all being used here and there at a certain part or certain phase of the design thinking process.
So I guess what you're saying is design thinking is a process where there's many components, and one of the components is creative thinking, and then another component is critical thinking. Am I right?
Thinking and analytical thinking is there.
Analytical thinking and all that. So there's many different types of thinking. So design thinking is the bigger picture, where all the different types of thinkings are brought together into one particular process. Right?
Absolutely.
So it's quite amazing. So you can use design thinking to learn all the other types of thinking.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
It is the end-to-end things that you can use to do anything.
Okay. Let me quickly go into the next question. We are running out of time. What are the factors needed for design thinking? So I guess I'm going to add on to that question as well. What are the factors needed for design thinking, and how do I learn and become good in design thinking in the longer term?
Okay. So I would say that there are three factors I can put in needed in design thinking. Number one, most important factor is the mindset. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you this word that might make people feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the thing in design thinking is this: you cannot have a goal when you're doing a design thinking. So you cannot set the goal that I want to do this product in design thinking. So design thinking mindset is not a goal-centric approach. It's a direction-centric approach. What is the difference there? Direction-centric approach is, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to solve this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I'm going to solve this. So goal-centric approach is for problem solving, but design thinking approach is called direction centric. It's like you're going up north, but I don't know, is it Penang, is it Kedah, is it Laos, is it Vietnam, is it Russia? I don't know. When I'm getting closer, that's where you will find out what is this. So there's a lot of anxiousness will happen when you're doing this design thinking. So I want them to understand the mindset must be right when you are having the design, when you're doing design thinking. So that's the first factor. Second factor, you need to understand the process in the design thinking. So you must know that there are three processes there. Number one is the explore phase. Number two is the create phase. And the third one is the implement phase. Now, there are some people know the process, but their mindset is not right. They cannot move. Really, I tell you, you'll be stuck in the middle. You'll be stuck somewhere, and you'll be letting it go, and you don't want to do it. So the second thing is process is important, but your mindset must be right for you to do the process. If you have the mindset, you don't have the process, also a problem, because you'll be taking a long time for you to design an idea. And the third one, why is IDEO being number one design thinking professional in the world, is because of their tools. Their tools are amazing. Now, let me tell you, I've used certain tools, my friend, but IDEO tool is super amazing that you will come out with a product clearly, high speed, and really reliable product because the tool that they use is amazing. So it's important for them to learn the right tools when they're using the design thinking process. They need to know what is the process like, and they need to have the right mindset. But if you don't have the right tool, you still can go. You don't have the right tool. That means you can use a Stanford tool or an MIT tool or whatever tool you can use. You still can go, but IDEO's tools is amazing. That's what these are the three factors.
I guess IDEO. Sorry, go ahead.
You say one more thing, right?
No, I guess the other thing is because IDEO is very industry. They deal directly with industry, so that's why I can imagine the tools is always up to industry standards.
And you can bring it. Actually, IDEO's tools are very simple. The industry standard tool. People thought that kind of tool will be very complicated, very engineered. No. You see, tools must be so simple that it makes your brain work, because we need tools to make our brain work correctly in the correct direction. If the tools are so complicated, you can't even think. That's a problem, you see. So that's why IDEO tools are impactful.
But I like what you said about what you call design thinking being direction focused rather than a goal focus. I mean, this is what something that we in ASTI also tell a lot of students, that it is not the end which is important, but the journey. Is where we really learn, So yeah, I'm happy that we kind of agree 100%.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. I have trouble, when I'm doing this program, I have to challenge a lot of people's mindset in this first process, which is the goal-centric to the direction-centric. And there's a lot of people who will have tough time moving from the goal-centric to the direction-centric. It's not easy because they used to be a goal-centric person, is it?
Correct. So and we also always focus on goals, exams, getting A's. And it's not about what I learn or how much I am able to use what I've learned and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've got one last question. This is a question for myself before we let you go. I know you're traveling soon. So last question. So now, for young students who, let's say they participate in Green Makers Challenge and they learn all this, or they participate in other competitions and they try to use design thinking and learn and all that, and they are happy with what they learn, design thinking. So now they want to go deep into how to use design thinking in their life. Who do they approach? Is there any organizations? I'm sure you are one of them, but more for students. Let's say they are very young, they are still in their secondary schools, maybe even some primary school students. They want to go deeper in and they want to go delve into the subject. Where can they go and learn this?
Okay, if they go to the IDEO website, they can see they have already some of the tools for them to use there. IDEO is amazing because they give a lot of tools for free. So they can go inside there and use the IDEO tools there. they can go and watch certain videos that is uploaded in the YouTube on what is design thinking is all about. And I would like them to watch this one video if they can. That is in what we call TED Talk by Dave Kelly and Dave Kelly or Tim Brown. There's two people outside there. They spoke about design thinking and how important are that, and what are the certain things that they do for them to find out. They can do that. There's a lot of resources outside there, but if you want to get the tools for you to do immediately, you want to go inside there, go to ideo.com, and you can find out they have certain tools inside there for them. And there's a lot of case study inside ideo.com for them to really understand what is this thing is all about. I'd like to give them the right resource for them to learn. That's the best resource you can get. There are other resources outside there, but I've tried those resources. It's really not that well. But IDEO's resources are really
because of course they were the inventors, I guess. This thing.
They made it simple. They have a lot of wonderful tools inside there for them to use. But probably they need some guidance on how to use the tool. Probably they can communicate with me too. I'm in the Facebook. I'm in Instagram. They can find me, Captain Arriva. So probably I can guide them along the way how to use certain of those tools. No worries. Yeah.
So for those of you listening live, you won't find this in the description, but later on, hopefully by Monday, we'll put all the resources that Captain Arriva was mentioning, IDEO, Dave Kelly, Tim Brown. The link, we'll put it in the description. So please come back on Monday and you'll see all the resources there, and you can always use that to learn further and better. So thank you so much, Captain, for your amazing talk. It's really opened up my eyes as well into using design thinking. So with that, I'd like to thank all those who have arrived, and watched this live. And in our Captain, in most of our webinars, like only 10% come live, 90% will come later. Thank you for agreeing to have your talk on the YouTube for people to listen and learn further.
Please, they should.
Correct. So for those who are watching this non-live and you still have any questions, please do write to us and we'll try to reply to you as the best we can. So thank you guys. And thank you.
One of my good friends, Bhavani. Hi, Bhavani.
Hi, Bhavani. My good friend as well.
Yeah, our good friend.
Captain, any last parting words from you before we leave?
Okay, so switch your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, human-centric approach. That's the way to go. Switch it. We are humans. We're supposed to connect heart to heart, brain to brain, integrate that, and be a human when you are looking at a product, looking at a solution. Connect with human, connect with the team. And let me tell you, the idea that you're going to come, it's going to be phenomenal. With that, thank you so much, Doctor. It was really a great pleasure being in this session. Right. See you.
Thank you, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Captain Arrivananthan, for answering the questions from our audience. With that, we shall conclude our webinar this evening. As always, we are hoping for your support in our journey. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening, and please forgive us for our shortcomings. Till we meet again, have a good day, everyone.